Hello, flower friends. This is Jen, and you are listening to the Floral Hustle podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about this last week. And I had the biggest week of the year this last weekend. And I had some new freelancers. I had some freelancers that had been here just a few times. And I mean, it was a lot. It was an Indian wedding that had this very immaculate, very just over the top backdrop to it. It had this mandap that was really interesting that had all these stencils on it. It had 30 tables, and then it had these head tables that were lining the whole dance floor that had chandeliers over it. So it was a lot. Then we had an American wedding. On Sunday, we had an event on Friday that was a birthday party that had a bar floral install, centerpieces, and things like that. So it was just a lot. And I have all these people around here, and they're like, Jeni, I don't know how you do this. This is crazy. Like, oh my God, I've never seen so much flowers ran out of a place. And just all these things are like, what I was doing was hard to wrap their head around. And I thought about that this weekend. Like, I'm not any smarter than anybody else. I'm not any more talented from a floral perspective. But I think one of the key ingredients is that I am fucking fearless when it comes to doing something, when it comes to pushing myself, when it comes to really just wanting to dominate in my business and in my life. And I want to talk about being fearless in your business because there is a lot of fear based in running a business. Fear shows up in, am I good enough for doing this design? Am I good enough for running a business? Am I good enough for this? Am I good enough for that? It's like this just constant replay of you not being good enough, you not being smart enough, you not being creative enough, you not being talented enough, you not being business savvy enough. I mean, we could come up with this list of things that you think you're not, probably longer than a list of the things that you think you are. And that is a stuck state to be in, to feel like you're never good enough. And it's something that I know that I grew up with. But the thing is even though I felt like I wasn't good enough, maybe from everything that was happening with my mom and how she talked to me and how that made me talk to myself. But at this one point, I just decided that I could do anything that I put my mind to it. Because I kept seeing when I put my mind to it that I would make it happen. And like this workshop I recently did, I put Post-it notes all over my bathroom mirror. And I wanted anytime that I went into the bathroom, anytime I wanted to brush my hair, anytime I wanted to brush my teeth, to be reminded of what a badass I am. And I put on there that I will have X amount of girls in this workshop. I add value and I help women make more money in their business. I help bring women confidence. I make people stronger business owners. Like I just had different Post-it notes on the mirror to just speak to myself in a way that Jeni, you got this. Anytime you set out to do this, you win. Like anytime that I put my mind to it, I win because I am fearless going into that. And without the element of fear, I am so much more likely to accomplish it because there's no hesitation. There's no should I do this? Oh no, what if it doesn't work? I'm doing this. I tell people that. I start talking about it on social media because I do not fail. When I go all in, am making shit happen. And I want you to step back right now and just say, do I approach my business that I am absolutely fearless? And I'm guessing the answer is no. and step back again and just say, okay, what would it look like if I operated my business in a sense of fearlessness? What would it look like if I approached my business like the badass that I want to be? And what's so funny is that, I mean, I do feel like I'm a badass. And that is like one of my fun descriptors. And I had a husband that was, they came here all the way from California for this workshop. And his wife is just lovely. I just think she's so great. And he walks in, and it was funny because he was talking to her, or they were talking to each other. And he's like, she said, Jody is just such a badass. I'm just excited to be in her energy. I'm excited to be at the workshop because she's just such a badass and blah, 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 blah. And he walks in, and he's like, so there's the badass herself. And it's funny because like I channel that energy because being a badass to me means being fearless. Like they coincide together. If I am living the most badass version of my life, and I've done a whole episode about like channeling your inner badass that you should go listen to that I will put in the show notes. But I embody that because I feel like when I embody that just enables me to be fearless. And if I am not embodying that, that enables me to lose. That enables me for something to get in my way from accomplishing what I want. And that is just not something that I want. I want to be fearless. I even have my word of the year this year actually was fearless. And there is a website called myintent.org. And they have these little, if you're watching on YouTube, they have these little bracelets that you can get a stamped, word on it. And so I last year my word was magnetic, and you can get this stamped word on it. So I carry it around with me and I wear it like a badge of honor because that is what I want to embody. And most people, when they're thinking about business strategy, they're like thinking, oh, I got to go on TikTok and Instagram and I got to do all this social media stuff. You need to check in here in your heart and in your head to make sure that you are going into this fearlessly for you to be able to move forward with any type of strategy. Because if you pause, if you are timid, if you are like, I don't know if I can do this, like that energy is going to flow into your business. And that energy is like basically dumping water in the flame that is your business. It's like you have hired firefighters, hopefully with like maybe doing a little dance and not wearing a lot of clothes would be fun. But they're spraying down your hopes and dreams if that doubt and that fear is in your heart and in your head. So I want you to step back and go, how could I be fearless? What would it look like if I was being fearless in my business? What decisions would I make? What things would I be doing differently? How would I be acting differently? How would I come across differently to a prospect? I come across as super confident, super in control, super the boss of the space. Like that is my energy. I kind of lame to say it, but I have boss babe energy when I'm going into any type of interaction with somebody in the wedding industry, just really anybody. I am a total badass. And that energy is going into my business. So I would love for you, first thing to do is just like reflect on like, what would it look like if you operated your business from this sense of fearlessness? Like, what would you do differently? What is it? What's not acting like that? What is that holding you back from right now? How could you embody being fearless? How could you embody being a badass? Because they just go hand in hand. And a lot of times I think what's getting in the way also is because you're not living this happy, potentially like this really full, authentic life, that in your heart, there's something going on because you're not probably operating your life in this way that is fulfilling and giving. And just my life is so giving. My life is so I have so much joy in my life. I have so much like to look forward to in my life. I love my life. There are so much about that. And a lot of times when I meet somebody, I know someone right now who I mean, it's like Eeyore in this cloud because everything is terrible. And everything is terrible sucks to be around. Like the negativity is not good to be around. So even looking at like I've been contemplating like this probably isn't a good fit because of that energy. And it's really hard for me to be around somebody who the sky is falling all the time. And their lifeboat, they're burning cigarette holes in, or they're like poking knife holes in it. And there are so, I truly feel like there are so many things that are choices and not conditions in your life. And if you are looking at, oh, there's no other option, like this is just the way it is and everything sucks, everything's going to suck. But I look at it as like, you know what? There's so much more opportunity. I need to do this. And like, I think that this is going to be a really good strategy and I'm going to put my heart into it and I'm going to make this happen. And when you sit back and do that versus go, everything sucks and I'm drowning here and I don't know what to do and I'm a victim and all these bad things are happening to me and there's no goodness and just on and on and on. Like, of course there's bullshit happening. Of course there's nothing good happening because you are bringing in the energy, the energetics of crap, of your life sucking, of everything basically not having that ideal life vibe because you think nothing is ideal because you think you're a victim to everything happening in your life. And newsflash, everything is a choice. If your partner is an asshole, you can leave him. If your mother is completely crazy person who is verbally or mentally abusive to you, you don't need to talk to them. If your best friend is a backstabber that talks shit about you, you don't need to be friends with them. If your kids are going to a school that they're getting bullied and whatever, first go mama bear on that. And if it doesn't get better, switch schools. There is always a solution. There was always a choice. And if we're staying stuck in choices that are keeping us stuck, keeping us unhappy, keeping us in this negative state, keeping us basically just like living Groundhog's Day of our crappy life on repeat, then you're not going to grow a business. You're not going to have the capacity. You're holding your umbrella up because Eeyore's rain cloud is following you around. You don't need to live like that. I have had, and I've talked about this, I have had like immensely bad things happen to me. And I don't let it affect me. I have lost both my parents I'm 45 now. I lost my dad 10, 11 years ago. I lost my mom 5 years ago. My daughter has autism. Her dad is crazy. I was witness to physical, emotional abuse so much when I was little. So like I used to get my ass kicked with a cowboy belt when I was little. Like so many things can happen to you in the past and you can change what it looks like in the future. You don't need to stay stuck in that state of being a victim. You don't need to stay stuck in that state of unhappiness. You can choose. And I've chosen that my life is spectacular. Sure, I might want to kill my husband sometimes because Jesus Christ, we don't need more shit from Amazon. Or sure, like I get really frustrated with the kids sometimes when they're not picking up their stuff and then they're begging for more things. And I mean, there's always going to be little things, but I don't let them domino into big things. We're not creating momentum of negativity. We create momentum of growth. We create momentum of good things happening. And you can do that same thing. So how can you change your current state? How could you be fearless? Next time you're like, oh my God, this seems scary. Just think, like, I am channeling my inner badass, and my inner badass got this. What's there to be afraid of? If you fail, at least you tried. And what if it worked? You never know when you swing if you are going to hit. But if you don't ever swing, you never know what could have happened. And I have one of my mastermind girls right now that has just like this abundance of opportunity coming her way. It is so amazing to see, and has only done a couple fresh flower events and had a $12,000 event. Like, I was so over the moon, and she was figuring things out as go. But that girl was so fearless. I was so proud of her that she just went for it. What if you were like that? What if you just went for it? What if you were like unapologetically like, I deserve this job. I deserve this kind of income. I deserve this kind of opportunity. And with that, like, it all falls into place. You're on to bigger and better things because then you're getting momentum. Like, that girl has momentum in her business. So much confidence, so much clarity on what feels good, so much more fearless. Like, I think that's one thing in the mastermind that I think rubs off on my girls, because they do bigger, bolder things than they ever have done. And that may seem cocky, but like, energy rubs off on energy. You are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most often. And if you're hanging out with somebody, this is why I'm such a big proponent of being in masterminds, being in groups or clubs or something that you're surrounding yourself by better energy, or even just doing a one-on-one coaching session with somebody who's doing the things that you want to do. That's the energy you want to be around, because that's the energy of momentum. That's the energy you're going to be like, it's possible. I can do this. And if it feels impossible, then you're stuck. You're not being fearless. If you can't go, how can this work? How can I make this work? How can I do bigger? How can I dream bigger? How can I be bigger? Like, I ran a ton of shit out of this studio this weekend. And yeah, it was cozy, and yeah, it was complicated, and yeah, there were hiccups, but like, that was the amazing part. It all came together in the end. And it can for you too. Like, you need to believe. There was no doubt in my mind that this weekend was going to be pulled off flawlessly. I knew it would, because there's no other option but that. I knew it was going to be amazing. I knew it was going to be beautiful. I knew it was going to be amazing photos. I knew it was going to be amazing everything. But I have seen a lot of florists go into, holy shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Oh my God, this sounds like so much. I just don't know. Blah, 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 blah. Like, this negative train of terror is unleashing, and it doesn't need to be that way. Big things can happen to you. Good things can happen to you. And you just need to believe. And I believe in you. And if you don't believe in you, then book a one-on-one call, because we need to talk about it. Because you deserve so much more the credit, so much more than what you've been letting yourself go after. You can dominate. I just know it. Thank you so much for listening, flower friend, and you have an amazing flower-filled day.